Welcome, everyone, to Jews in Sports. I'm your host, Michael Newman. This podcast is presented by jifoundation.org and aish.com. We are here with an amazing human being and someone who accomplished something really terrific. You are the coach of the Israel national baseball team, Eric Holtz. We'll get right into the first question, as I like to do on this program, very intense, and that is when the odds are not in your favor, how does one rally your guys, right? The statistics to go to the Olympics for the Israel baseball team was literally nothing, and you guys accomplished really something that wasn't possible. How do you send that message to the people that you are leading when maybe you don't even believe it yourself?
Well, Mike, first of all, thanks for having me and great to see you. For me, when I'm working with all age athletes, one of the biggest things that I say to them is, if you don't believe in yourself, how can I believe in you? So as the leader, I have to exude a quiet confidence, almost cockiness about who we are and what we're here to do. And, the old why not us scenario, well, you know what? We were a good ball team. We knew we were a good ball team. There's no yelling and rah-rah. These are athletes that have been trained to do a job similar to the military. This is what you do. And if we limit the amount of mistakes and we maximize on the other team's mistakes, why not us? And for me, one of the things about dealing with a scenario like that is I never get too high and I never get too low. If my guys hit a home run, I'll shake their hand and give them a hug. I'm not dancing around. I'm not going crazy. And if things start going bad, it's just we need to regroup, stop the bleeding immediately, refocus, and get back out to it. So for me, it's just about, believing in who we are and what our job is and what we need to accomplish today.
It's kind of the Roger Federer effect, right? You stay even keel as a coach, which most players should, by the way, when they let emotions get to them. But it's interesting, you're taking away the emotion of the moment, and then that way lets you focus.
We were losing a game, and I don't remember if it was Sweden or somebody pretty early on in Bulgaria. And Danny Valencia, who, is a 10-year ex-big leaguer, came over to me in the dugout. He goes, you know what, Skip, we're going to win this game. He goes, you're fine. He goes, you believe in us. And I said, Danny, of course I believe in you. We're going to win this whole thing. And he looked at me and he just started getting crazy and he started, now this is a 10-year big leaguer. This is not a kid. He started rallying up the dugout and he was like, let's go, and of course we ended up winning the baseball game. I think, when you're in competition, emotion, good or bad, is just not good. You almost want to treat it like you're playing poker, and you just don't want, the other team smelling blood like a shark. You don't want them to see or taste fear. So you walk around no different if I'm up 10 runs or down 10 runs. You just couldn't tell.
Fascinating. The poker analogy is really good because in life, everyone lets, to everyday life, lets that, get out of control.
Sure.
Let's introduce the intro for the podcast, and we'll introduce you right after it. Welcome to Jews in Sports. I'm your host, Michael Newman. Yes, that's me. I competed on LeBron James' show $1 Million Mile on CBS, where I go on to win $25,000 while wearing my yarmulke, inspiring people around the country and creating moments like this. And so I created my foundation, where we take kids with physical challenges through an actual live Spartan race, not only changing their lives, but the lives of the volunteers. I am an elite pro Spartan racer, appearing on many podiums, and am currently training for Season 4 of Israel Ninja Warrior. This is my podcast, delving into life's biggest questions from the perspective of our Jewish athlete heroes. Created to inspire and empower, please enjoy our program. Okay, so coming back, you are Eric Holtz. I mean, the story is, baseball, born in New York, and, then basically become the head coach of the Israel national baseball team. If that's not enough to say, I mean, the claim to fame is that you guys do the impossible and to qualify for the Olympics now in 2021. I mean, that's the story, basically. You have a wonderful, game on 13 baseball and softball strength conditioning in New York. You do this all the time. This is your passion. But let's start. I know a lot of people would want to start by when you won the Israel, when you qualified that game, because I remember on the Facebook when it went viral, it was just so inspiring for me. But we're going to start somewhere kind of more impactful and unique. And that is the story when you guys are trying to qualify to get into the qualification, and you play Germany as wearing Israel on the jerseys in Germany, and your story with all of that and going through it, and your past with being a Jew in that moment, playing, and then not only playing but destroying.
So Mike, I just got to give you a couple minutes as a lead up to the Germany game. So we start out in Bulgaria, and there are 6 teams there. We play some really good teams, including Greece and Ireland and Bulgaria. We played Russia, and we had to beat Russia twice to win the B pool. Now, for people that don't understand, there were 3 pools: an A pool, a B pool, and a C pool. Israel started in the B just to try to get to the A. So all we did was beat 6 teams in Bulgaria, Russia twice, losing both of the games to Russia, came back in the last inning and beat them 2 times. That gave us the right to play Lithuania in Lithuania the following week, where we had to play them in a 2 out of 3 series, and we beat them pretty bad in the first 2 games. That got us to Germany. In Germany, there were 12 teams. The top 5 would qualify for the Olympic qualification. So for the first time in the history of Israel baseball, we got to the A pool, okay, for the first time ever. We're in Germany. Like I said, top 5 teams make it. We start out, we're 3-0, and we're sitting pretty well. The next game is Germany, and here's the story. We walk onto the field, somewhat eerie, somewhat creepy, as a Jew, with the thoughts of the Holocaust. And the stadium itself was sponsored by the Bonn, B-O-N-N, because that was the town we were in, gas company. Okay? So the Bonn Gas Company is the sponsor of the stadium. Here's Team Israel and every Jewish player walking in wearing our royal and white uniforms, and you're looking around and is this really happening? A Jew that is able to compete as the country of Israel in Germany. Chills. Like I just had chills walking onto the field, right? Now, my dad passed away in 1977. My mother in 2011, and this has just been such an incredible journey and so meaningful to me, for my family and for my Jewish heritage, to stand on the foul line of the German stadium with the Israeli flag hanging in center field and Hatikva being played before the game literally gave me chills. Almost started tearing up thinking about my parents and how proud they'd be and where we are, as Jewish athletes. Like, where are we? What are we doing? And it's amazing, really amazing. And now, we had heard a big, bad Germany. They were a really good team, very well coached. And before you know it, like, we're in a tie game. The game is tied. It's like 2-2, going into the last inning, and thousands of screaming, chanting German fans. And we had 3 or 4 of our team's family members, you know, like wearing Star David sweatshirts in the stadium, but thousands of just chanting the whole game, like just crazy fans. And the game goes into extra innings, and they lead off the top of the 10th inning. It starts an international tiebreak. They lead off and get a triple. It was a single that was kind of misplayed by the right fielder. Man on third, nobody out. As anyone knows, tough spot, right? All my closer did, John DeMarty, was literally shut them down.
Yeah.
With nobody, or man on third, nobody out. Struck out 2, infield ground ball, we're out of it. We score 2 runs in the top of the 10th and end up beating Germany in Germany as the first Israeli national team to compete in Germany. And I want to say 30 years, 40 years, something like that. My daughter, Sydney, who's now 23, was the team nurse and was with me this entire journey. And at the end of that game, I didn't even have to say anything to her. Like, we just made eye contact. We walked over to each other and just embraced and hugged, and were both almost kind of shaking because the day before we had beaten Great Britain. So had somebody told you that within a 24-hour period, a Jewish team was going to beat up on Great Britain and Germany in Germany, it was just the greatest thing ever. And to this day, the only baseball that I kept through everything with the most meaningful baseball was the final score, Israel 4, Germany 2. And, you know, we talk about it a lot. We have team meetings with the guys, and, you know, post game, we spoke about the heaviness and what it meant, you know, to the Jewish people, and how proud our people would be of an accomplishment like this.
And what's their reaction, in a sense that, again, it's a bunch of young, you know, young guys, you know, who didn't, you know, in America and Israeli as well, and you know, they see unfortunately see it as a historical event. How do you, because you said it before, you try to take away the emotion, but in this very emotional moment, how do you instill that emotion?
Oh no, Mike, no. After the game, I'm the most emotional guy you're ever going to meet. It's during the game when I can't show any emotion. So after the game, you know, we were on the bus going home and back to the hotel, and I just stood up and I just said, listen, guys, you know, most of you guys are in your 20s and 30s, and you know, I know you've all heard of it. You know, maybe some had great grandparents or you know, grandparents that knew somebody or were affected by it. But we talked about it as a team, and truly what it meant to just every Jewish person. Never mind the fact, yeah, we won the game and it made it that much sweeter, but as a Jewish person, to be able to and allowed to compete in this land with fans, and their fans embraced us after the game. They congratulated us. They spoke to us. They wished us well. It was really meaningful and heartfelt for everyone.
What a beauty! I mean, just to hear, really, you know, it's, people see it as a baseball game, but then to, you know, from the Jewish standpoint, from the history, from how we feel as a people, to be where we are now, I think that's what that game represented, in the sense that, you know, we survived. I mean, that's what it represented. Just the historic concept that we just are here and we thrive and we love each other and we love people.
And talking about loving each other was basically the success of our team. We succeeded because we loved each other. We succeed today because we still love each other. Through COVID, through everything, we speak every couple of weeks. We have a team Zoom, and everybody just checks in to make sure everybody's doing okay, because that's, you know, that's who we are. So again, you know, it was so much more than just one baseball game. But that game, in all sincerity, beating Germany made us 4-0, which guaranteed us a 5th place finish.
Whoa.
It enabled us to go to Italy to try and qualify for the Olympics.
So let's go to that moment, because you had your bar mitzvah you had your bar mitzvah in Israel. This is really unprecedented. It went viral. I remember as I'm as an Orthodox Jew, just seeing that brought me chills when I saw it, and I was, in shock, and it's just a huge moment. And, to tell everyone also, your dad fought in World War, II, and it's just wonderful. So you win. So just the moment, explain to me as a coach, just the moment you guys qualify, the pitch comes, everyone, jumps up and down and starts celebrating. And it just felt more than just a regular victory, as you explained in tournament.
So again, I apologize, but I got to back up a little bit.
Do it.
We after we go 4-0 in Germany, we lose the next 3 games.
Wow.
Okay, we lose to Spain, the Netherlands, and Italy, and that guaranteed us a 4th place finish. And now we're in Italy, and Spain beat us up pretty good in Germany. Our first game is against Spain in Italy.
Cool.
From losing 16-9 4 days prior, Joey Wagman throws a complete game. We beat Spain 3-0.
How does that even happen? How do you just quick little throw it there? How do you get your mind to say, let's beat Spain?
Because it's baseball, and anything can happen on any day, and anybody can beat anybody on any day. And if you stop believing, that's when you're done. We believed that we were good enough to compete with anybody on this baseball field.
Even though the odds said that you were supposed to come in last, it didn't matter.
That is correct. So the next day, we went from losing to these 3 teams to then the first 3 teams were playing in Italy. So we beat Spain. Now we have the Netherlands. Now the Netherlands are like, 8th, 9th in the world. They beat us up pretty good. I don't remember the score, but they beat us up pretty good in Germany. And all we did was beat them 8-1 in Italy, again, 4 days later. They are the favorites to win this whole thing. And now Israel is sitting 2-0. Unbelievable, right? We now have home team Italy, game 3. Now, Italy beat us by a walk-off in Germany the week before. This is an unbelievable game. It's tied 2-2 in like the 7th inning or something. And we got men on first and third with, I think, no outs or 1 out. And Mitch Glasser puts down one of the best sacrifice safety squeezes I've ever seen. And the first baseman bobbles the ball, we score, and then they change pitchers, and we score another 4 runs. And we end up beating Italy. I want to say the final score is 8-2 in Italy. And it's like, holy, we're 3-0, guys. Let's go. Tomorrow, now we got the Czech Republic, and we beat the Czech Republic in Germany, and here we go. I mean, let's get this done. As the baseball gods would have it, the Czech had our number that night. And the Czech Republic ended up beating us 7-4.
Hey.
So we're sitting at 3-1, but because of head-to-head competition, all we needed to do was win our last game, and no other team could beat us. So we had South Africa on the last day of the competition. I just talked about not being emotional. This is the only speech I made. We're about 5 minutes outside of the stadium to play South Africa on the last day of the tournament. I stand up, bus driver turns off the music, and I said, boys, we are the only team in a position to control our own destiny. All we need to do is win this game, and we're in. If you handle what you need to handle, we will leave this hotel as a baseball team and return as Olympians. And the bus just explodes. Like, guys are going nuts. South Africa never knew what hit them. Michael, we ended up gonging them We mercy ruled them, beat them 11-1. One of the things you asked me about my feeling. One of the things that I did in the top of the ninth inning was I called timeout, and we brought in 40-year-old Shlomo Lipitz, who is the first Israeli-born baseball player to play college baseball in the States.
Wow.
Been on, I can't tell you how many dozens of national teams for Israel, born and raised there. So we brought him in to record the historic Last Out. And yeah, here we are today, you know, obviously postponed with COVID, but you know, the excitement and the emotion, you know, even just reliving this now, you know, a year and a half or whatever later, you know, it's just one of the greatest days, one of the most special days. You know, nobody gave us a chance. When you talk about a chance, a percentage, there was none. We were a B-level team that first had to get to A, where all these other teams had already been established A teams, and little old Israel came in and took care of business.
I mean, this is a story that just so you, when you're telling the story on the bus, I just got like so revved up like those guys, because I think also it was just cool to hear you say, like, handle your job. Like, let's get it done. Like, this isn't, you know, don't get in your head. Don't let it, you know, this is a moment that you have in your life. Get it done. Don't say like a could have or should have. Get it done.
You know what, Mike? It's just baseball. It's a game.
Yeah, people forget that.
We know what we're capable of. This isn't war. This isn't live or die. Have fun. Let's keep doing what we're doing, and we'll handle our business.
And that message, I'm taking it to heart for me, because as a psychologist, we know with the narrative in our head, in everyday life, in everyone watching this, whether it's one person that gets affected by this message, it's an important message. It's just life. There are greater things than what you think is so important. And yet we get so depressed about it. We get so down on ourselves. We shoot ourselves in the foot before we start the race. Before we end, what is the message going into the Olympics? Because you did so much to get there. I mean, probably no one's giving you a chance. And yet you have that chance. What's the message?
You know what? The message is, again, Mike, you know, I'd rather nobody give us a chance. I just want to be who we are. And we're a great bunch of kids. We're a great ball team. We're coached well. We're going to be prepared. And we're going to leave it out on the field. And whatever happens, I will tell you this, we will represent Israel the way Israel deserves to be represented. With style, grace, and dignity, my friend.
So beautiful. Oh, I love to end it off there. Everyone, please, we'll have information about you to contact you and how to do that if anyone wants to reach out, give support, because what a wonderful journey. But just off of that, man, yeah, go represent Israel the way Israel represents the Jews and humanity and the ability to go get things done even if everyone says it's not possible. Woo! Have a great day, everyone. Smile, inspire, and thanks so much, Eric. This was awesome.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me, Mike.